So I started thinking about this engine that's right here. Oh, and by the way, guys, this is not a 331 stroker. This seems to be just a 302. And on top of that is an older model, probably, I guess that will be the date, a 68 302 right here. So this is a non-roller 302 that has been tapped for the Spider. So here is an actual roller 302 right here, and as you can see, it has a little boss right here, a little raised area. I don't know how long the engine in the Project Fox, we'll just call it Project Fox until we name it, and the Project Fox is gonna last. So we've got a bird in the shop, guys. So I got to thinking about it. Why don't we go ahead and take this engine to the machine shop and have him look it over, okay? This seems to be just a 30 over 306. It's got some type of, it's got an aftermarket piston in it with a pretty good valve relief up top. So I don't think that we're going to get too involved in putting a big cam in this thing, but the bores look pretty good on it. So anyway, I think we're going to take this engine up and have it, you know, hot tanked, have some new cam bearings put in it, because it was drilled all the way through into the cam bearings for the retrofit for the Spider up here. So I talked to the guy at the machine shop and he says that's perfectly fine, don't worry about it, because typically what I've read is you only want to go like 3/8 of an inch, you know, deep right here, and that keeps you from going into the cam bearings. But he says that's not a problem. He actually drills his all the way through anyway. So as long as you're going to put new cam bearings in it, doesn't seem to matter. All right, so with that being said, why don't we go ahead and load this thing up, get it up to the machine shop. So we probably won't get a result today, but we can go ahead and get it up there at least. This should be pretty cheap. We're not going to spend any money on it right now other than getting it checked out. And then I know that I can just throw this thing back together with new bearings. I've got enough stuff over here to basically build a motor from scratch, and that's what we're going to do. All right, so we got this whole thing loaded up. Let's go ahead and get it up to the machine shop and see what he says about it. Also, I decided to go ahead and bring the crankshaft as well. That way we can make sure if this thing needs to be turned or not, or if it already has been turned. So depending on your area, prices may vary. But for me, for him to look it all over, hot tank it, put new cam bearings in it, we're looking at about 150 bucks, something like that. So, you know, if he doesn't have to polish anything or doesn't have to do any other work, guys, that's not bad. So you think about it, you got an old engine that's sitting around, maybe you're not sure if it's good or not, you know, the tolerances are correct and things like that. Just take it to the machine shop, because typically just to look at it, they're not going to charge you a whole lot. So the first thing he's going to do is look at this thing and see if it's within tolerance. If it is, then he'll go ahead, hot tank it, put cam bearings in it and all that. With that being said, let's go ahead and get our butts up there to the machine shop. So let's go through a few things today that I just learned, and I think this will help a lot of you out. So if you're wanting to do a retrofit roller camshaft, this is the old engine that came out of the Calypso. So as you can see right here and right here are your bosses for your Spider. I'll go ahead and show you guys a couple of pictures right here of what it looks like assembled. All right, so now that you see that, that is option one that you have for a non-roller block. So you take a block that does not have those two holes drilled and tapped out. You take that block, you lay your Spider in here, and you actually drill these holes. At that point, I think Speedway Motors, they sell them. They make a Spider kit that'll just drop right down in here, and the dog bones that hold the lifters are shaped a little different. They're a little higher up. So you can buy that. It's like 55 bucks. I'll show you guys on the screen here. And essentially at that point, you can drop your regular stock roller lifters in here and make it work. Well, that's true and it's not true. So there's an issue that you're going to run into with that. You have to run a small base circle cam, okay? So let me show you a picture to explain what I'm talking about. Now look, I'm no expert on this. I'm just trying to help you guys out. You know, do your research on this, make some phone calls, do whatever you got to do. I'm just trying to let you guys know that there are some issues with each way you go with this, okay? So option one is your Spider, and this is one of the things that you're going to run into. See how the lifter is actually sitting up? It's got the dog bone actually like raised up. The length of this bore is shorter than your non-roller blocks. Now, What does that mean exactly? Well, your lifter is going to try to come out of the bore where it seals up, and you're going to have a loss of oil pressure. That's a huge problem. So you got to be careful with that, especially with a high lift cam, right? You can probably get away with a stock cam because your lifter's not going to come out of the bore as much. That's the option that I thought I was going to be able to go with, was option 1. Pretty easy, right? Buy the $55 thing, drill and tap it, which mine's already been done, and then drop whatever cam you want to in there. Not going to work for what I want to do. Option 2 is going to be your link bar lifters. So I'll throw those up on the screen for you right now. Now, to make this work, all you need to do is have a non-roller block. You don't need to drill and tap anything. Drop those link bar lifters in. Now, typically, they're going to have to go in before you put your heads on. They will work. At that point, you can run whatever base circle cam you want to, okay? You shouldn't have an issue there whatsoever. But at that point, you're probably going to need to buy some shorter push rods. If you guys don't know, a good set of hardened push rods are going to run you about $100. Those link bars are about $450, so you're looking at about $550, okay, to convert a non-roller setup to a roller setup. You're probably thinking, well, why would you do that whenever you have this thing sitting here? But this particular block right here is 60 over, okay, and it's seen better days. We pulled this out of the clip, so we think it's hurt, okay? So there's no point in trying to use this block. I'm not going to sleeve it. I'm not going to do that. There's also one other thing you need to know, which is, so the way your engine is balanced is going to be different. Okay, so on a roller like 302 is going to be a 50-ounce balance, all right? On a roller 351, it's going to be a 28-ounce balance. From my understanding, your older blocks, I think like below 81, if I'm not mistaken, 81 or below, they're going to be a 28-ounce imbalance. Now, that's not a problem, right? My stroker motor is a 28-ounce balance. But if you're on a budget and you're trying to do this as cheaply as possible and you run across a non-roller block and you're going to convert it and you're thinking you're going to save money, guys, this is going to add up very quickly. So now you got to go out and buy a different balancer and a different flywheel or flex plate. So you got to buy all that stuff, right? That's my point. It's typically cheaper unless you just cannot get your hands on a roller block, a block that came from the factory as a roller. You're pretty much just going to be better off finding yourself a roller 302, a roller 351, whatever the case may be, and going that route. Those link bars are easy, right? But they're very expensive, and you also got to buy push rods at that point too, right? So that's going to be pretty much bare minimum $550 there. So anyway, guys, I just wanted to touch on that. There are different ways to do this. Whatever the case may be, there's a lot of misinformation out there on doing this. I'm not trying to confuse anybody. I just want to let you know that, yeah, there's a lot more going on with this than meets the eye. I'm going to go ahead, wrap this one up, and as always, thanks for watching.